Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
How you doing? This is the guy from Pittsburgh. And that's the mantra of the week. Hands up, don't shoot. Into a city that's turned into a police city, a National Guard city, a crime city, a riot city, a tragedy city. Ferguson, Missouri, outside of St. Louis. You know, I'm not black. I'll never be black. But I have a pretty good idea of what it means to be black in this country, what it means to be a minority. I'm part of a religious minority. There goes Fluffy the cat under the table. And we Jews have an empathy with blacks because both of us have been persecuted for what we are. They are because of their color, or their youth, or their criminal record, or their lack of employment, or they're just standing on the street corner. We for our religion, and to some, our race. We as a race of Jews who believe differently than others. In Iraq, people who believe differently than others are being beheaded because our president didn't do anything about the condition in Syria, and they moved on into Iraq, and now they're beheading Christians because they don't believe what ISIS feels and believes in. And we have Michael Brown, young kid, graduated from high school, and sadly the police came up to him and asked him what he was doing. There he is. And he's out in the street with his friend. And they told him to get off the sidewalk. Well, to a lot of young blacks, that's like telling them to go F themselves. They feel they got the right to walk on the sidewalk like anybody else in America, and they do. So what did Michael Brown get? He got shot 6 times in the back of a police car, twice in the head. And then you got that idiot Wolf Blitzer. That's one of the reasons I stopped watching the CNN is liberal idiots like Wolf Blitzer who have no idea what the hell they're talking about. He gets in an interview and he asks, why can't the police fire their guns up in the air? Bam, bam. And we're told every year not to fire guns off on 4th of July or New Year's Eve because eventually the bullets go up and they come down like that cone. And they kill people. And they hurt people. But he said, why can't you fire the bullet up in the air like a warning shot? And then compound this idiocy, he says, why can't the police shoot to subdue people, to wound them? Well, I don't guess Wolf Blitzer's never been on a range. He's probably afraid of a gun. Hello, Wolf. Police don't shoot to wound. They're trained to kill if they're confronted by someone who is armed. But Michael Brown wasn't armed. And that shirt I showed you is from allriot.com, and I hope they won't mind using the picture. And so we have a young kid. He graduates from school. He's shot down like a dog in the street in the back of a police car. And then the police, here's another picture from Daily Mail. Onlookers looking. The police look at his dead body. I thought he was in a police car. He's lying in the street, dead. 6 times. We had a case in Oakland a couple of years ago where a poor deer was trapped in the corner of a backyard. And a big, tough policeman who happened to be black couldn't wait for animal control. He took it upon himself. He thought the deer was too dangerous. The poor deer was cornered and frightened to death. Well, it got more than frightened to death. In front of a little kid, this jerk took his gun out and shot the poor frightened animal 7 times. But the deer didn't have a chance to get away. Neither did Michael Brown. And then the police, bear with me for a minute. The police say that Michael Brown committed a robbery. He robbed a store. Now, here's the pictures. I wasn't there. And there's pictures of his friend in the store. I'm not going to look for those. But he manhandles the clerk, I guess. He's a big guy. Or he was. I guess that's technically a robbery, but it's also shoplifting. Might be battery, might be assault. I'm not a legal expert. But what did he steal? Did he steal money? Nah. Did he empty the till? Nah. Did he rip off the guy's wallet? Nah. He stole a box of cigars. Swisher Sweets. $1.25 a piece. That's $50. Maybe the tax $60. And I guess they were out looking for him. And this cop says he wasn't aware that Michael Brown was a robbery suspect. But they got cops there. They don't subdue him. They don't taser him. They don't hit him with pepper spray. They get him on the ground, and one cop pulls out his gun, or maybe more than one cop. We don't know yet. The federal government's ordered an autopsy. Obama ordered an autopsy. Obama's ordered the FBI in. And yet, in however many years Obama's been in office, He ain't done a damn thing for the black community when it comes to unemployment. We just had a figure come out the other day. Inflation's at 2.1%. The Fed said they're going to stop buying back their own T-bills. Inflation levels are acceptable, and yet the lie is that they don't include gas and food in those figures because they're too volatile. When the real inflation rate is 8%, the real unemployment rate is 12%, it's 25% in the black community. And you got young kids hanging around the street corners because they can't get a job. They got no hope. Now, this kid was a good student, was headed for college. His only crime was he was black, and he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They shot him down like a dog in the streets. So the people came out and protested, peacefully at first. And then hotheads started yelling things like kill the police, spraying it on mailboxes. Then the looting started. Saturday night, one businessman told Fox News, told a reporter, he stood in front of a store. There's 5, 10, 15 cops. He begged them to do something. You know what the cops did? Nothing. You know what the cops said to the businessman? I saw the report. They said, handle this best you can, pal. Good luck to you. Now, we went, when I was a kid, from just a minute, I gotta do this. But bear with me. We went from this guy Broderick Crawford. Can't see it very clearly because of the Broderick Crawford on 10-4-5150 Highway Patrol. Okay, whenever the laws of the country are broken, the narration would say they call in the Highway Patrol or the state militia. And then we went to this guy who would tell us that he was there to protect the citizens. Jack Webb. And then the police cars around the country have slogans on them. Not all of them. But you saw it on Adam 12 every week. There it is. To protect and serve. Get that. Here's the slogan. LAPD. And then you went from that to cops, bad boys, what you gonna do when they come down on you? And now the Obama administration and the Bush administration and other administrations spent $4 billion militarizing the police. Are they militarizing the police to protect us against invasion from another country? No. Are they militarizing the police to protect us from invasion by aliens that come down there flying saucers? No. Or come down to abduct us? No. They're militarizing the police because it's a way for Barack Obama to get around the law because he knows he can't use the military to police American cities. So he gives money to police departments with a string attached, like a marionette, and says, do what we tell you to do, or we'll take away your federal funds and take away all the little goodies and gadgets and armored vehicles, and riot gear and tear gas, and God knows what else. And he's turned our cities into armed camps where it's the police against us, the citizens who pay the taxes, the citizens who pay the police salary. And in Ferguson on Sunday, people were standing in front of their own yards on Saturday and Sunday, and they got tear gassed. In Ferguson on Sunday, before the curfew was enforced at midnight, set by Governor Nixon, they tear gassed peaceful protesters. In Ferguson, the press, from the Washington Post, Huffington Post, were arrested for daring to film the police when it's their right to film. The Supreme Court has said you have the right to film the police. So you ever get told by a cop, you can't film me, I'm going to arrest you, or you can't film me, I'm going to confiscate your camera. Get yourself an attorney and sue the hell out of the cop and the police department. It's your First Amendment right to film a policeman unless you're interfering with him in the performance of his duties. And filming a cop that pulls you for a traffic stop is not interfering with him. But I saw a video where this cop, and I'd like to know who the hell this cop was. If he was a Ferguson cop, a St. Louis County cop. He's in the McDonald's, and he's telling the press and he's telling the citizens, you have to turn your camera off now and leave. Were they engaging in crime? No. They were engaging in following the First Amendment. And this cop said, you can't do that. Took it upon himself to violate the First Amendment of our Constitution, the most sacred political document we've got. So we as citizens, be it black, white, brown, or yellow, need to tell our elected officials, enough is enough. Enough militarizing our police departments, enough militarizing police departments on campus. We're also starting to make campuses look like an armed camp. That we are not the enemy of the police. But it's turned the other way around. That the police are turning into our enemy. And the reason there's riots in the streets when one of these shootings goes down is young black men or young Latino men or young minority men have lost faith and hope. When you have no job and you feel like you have no future, when your kids don't really eat because you can't find a job, you don't give a damn about the city or the government. You're angry and you're frustrated. We need freedom. Roosevelt had the 4 freedoms. We need freedom from fear. And freedom from what? And freedom from unemployment. But most of all, we need freedom to walk the streets safe and secure, not only from criminals, but from our own police department, who are preying on Americans, whose only crime is they're walking the sidewalks of their cities. And in this case, one American happened to be black. But we saw it in LA recently. They pulled over for an investigative stop a disabled man. And did the LAPD subdue him? No. Did they taser him? No. They shot him to death. In Albuquerque, they shot a homeless man, sicked a bunch of guard dogs on him in a park. They blew him away. Then they tried to make it look like he was moving and resisting arrest when he was already dead. In Stockton, a black man was tasered 7 times and died of a heart attack. This goes on every day across America, not just black guys. But cops are killing people they should be subduing and taking into. I don't know why this thing is, but it needs to stop. It needs to stop now before we have the scene repeated all over America. Sure, there's 100, 1,000, 10,000 Fergusons. And people like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson need to stop showing up every time one of these events happens. They need to stay away, because all they are rabble rousers. And they're not there to help. They're there for their own agenda. Jesse Jackson and his Rainbow Coalition are both rich. But I've never seen Jesse Jackson write a check to a burnout businessman. I've never seen him write a check to a young black kid or a young black husband or a young black wife or a Latino wife or an Asian wife or an Asian husband that's out of work and can't feed their kids. But that's what Jesse Jackson and Sharpton do. Jackson extorts companies for money. He threatens boycotts. In a perfect world, he'd be arrested and convicted and sent to jail as an extortionist. Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, you need to stay out of it. Let the people handle their own battles. Like I saw one black man say, "You knew what it was to be black 50 years ago. You don't know what it is to be black today, and we want you to stay out of our town." So this has to stop. We can't afford any more Michael Browns. We can't afford riots. We can't afford hatred. But as long as we as a collective people stay complacent, it's going to keep happening. And lastly, we have to demand of our police departments, our mayors, our governors, our city and state officials, that the brutality against a citizen by the police, of the police, and for the police has to stop. And that police who kill suspects before they ever get to jail or court and can defend themselves should be tried and convicted. And not just passed on with a rubber stamp and say, "You get a good job on that one." And that makes citizens riot again because they're so damn ticked off. That has to stop too. The cops that do this, they need to be investigated and if necessary tried on civil rights charges and brought before a jury. And even if they're acquitted, if it's on video, you see the cop blow some guy away, or beat the hell out of somebody like Rodney King, or beat a woman on a freeway in L.A., that cop needs to, and those cops need to never work again as policemen. Because the whole world has seen what they do. Even if they get acquitted, the world knows they're bullies. We don't need stormtrooper bullies. We don't need SS troop bullies. We don't need Gestapo bullies in America. And it shouldn't be tolerated. All right, that's all I have to say. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. Free Art Bell, by the way.